Yeah, so my name is Uwe. I'm one of the founders of Project A, which is very fortunate to be one of the investors in quantum systems. I started Project A as a venture capital fund to support early stage technology companies just like quantum systems. I heard about quantum systems through somebody who worked in quantum systems at the time. And I was just kind of like exploring the whole market, what could be interesting companies, because I had really started to enjoy that the whole dual use concept of technology that can be used both by civilian institutions and by governments. And then at some point I just flew to Munich, go to Gilching. It was in summer. I was trying to walk around the office, see where the entrance is. And Florian was just sitting there outside with his dog. I hadn't fully realized that this is Florian, but that's how I first met Florian, kind of like in the parking lot at Quantum Systems with Oscar, his dog, by his side. So there definitely was like a lot of great moments just visiting the place for the first time, because you could really see this is not just a startup. Like my typical life is I visit a lot of very inspiring, very cool companies, but they're all very early stage, they're very software driven. So right from the get-go, I was able to see this is, yes, it's also a startup in the best sense of the word, but it's also a very serious business. And for example, a business that has a lot of physical components. So like Florian likes to say, hardware is hard. And we could really see that this is a company that's also dedicated to combining hardware and software and people and sourcing all those components into one very complex system that solves a big problem for a lot of people. So that was interesting. And then putting my investor hat on, you could also see that in the numbers back then, because the conventional wisdom always was, oh, hardware is not as profitable as software because you need to touch all the physical things, it's complicated and so on. But they showed us that it is necessary to touch the hardware also if you want to generate real value for your customer. And also, they made it work so well that financially, actually, it looked even better than a lot of software companies that we have seen. So two answers to that question. One very emotional one, me walking through the office for the first time, meeting the people, being able to touch the products. And then if you look at the numbers, it also did make a lot of sense. So I think Florian is right, hardware is very hard, but quantum systems is mastering it. And that leads to a situation where the success is clearly there for both the customers as well as for us as investors. And quantum systems is very, very good in a lot of individual components, for sure. But the combination of making sure that everything comes together, for example, both the hardware design and the software capabilities, the way we produce things, the way we sell things, all of this coming together, that's what it is hard. Because you could look just at the world out there saying, oh, other people produce drones as well. But creating excellence in all different kinds of aspects and bringing it together, I think that's what makes quantum systems unique. Anything that's aerial intelligence, the role that has for all of us as a society is immense. And it can be both when it comes to just making our lives, quote unquote, more comfortable, easier, because we have better land surveillance, for example, and we can do better urban planning. It also touches things like disaster response. For example, when we had the big earthquake in Turkey, it was very inspiring to see how quickly quantum systems drones were deployed also. So having the visibility of what's happening on the earth is obviously very important for a lot of things. And also for helping our friends in Ukraine. I think it's just important contribution as well. So yes, at the moment, of course, we have a lot of movement in certain aspects, like for example, in defense, but just the capability to be able to see what's happening on the planet from perspective that humans cannot reach and make it accessible and cheaper and more available than just using satellites, I think it's going to be very, very important, because how are you going to change the world if you can't really observe the world? You know, a lot of things are changing at the moment in terms of technology, and that of course goes for all kinds of fields, right? It goes from anything that has to do with computers, anything that has to do with software, with hardware, everything is changing. And that specific field where we've seen breakthroughs in terms of technology, which is drones of the type that quantum systems are producing, we don't see that much from the old established companies. They are maybe focusing a little bit on the different products. So it was really important actually for quantum systems to step up and create a European, American, Australian player basically that really is focusing on that segment. So that is extremely important that this work is being done. And I can't really say why other companies have not been focusing on it that much, but for quantum systems to step up and create the world-leading solution, I think was very, very important, because otherwise we wouldn't even have a solution. One thing is clear, the skills and capabilities that quantum systems have will be required. And I'm actually 100% certain that quantum systems will be able to use those skills in finding the right solutions, whatever they may be required in the next 5 to 10 years.